I present to you a traumatic reading of the funniest fucking Twitter thread I have ever seen in my fucking life. Okay? Some of you may have already seen it. I don't care. So yesterday, my daughter, 9, was hungry, and I was doing a jigsaw puzzle. So I said over my shoulder, make some baked beans. She said, how? Like all kids do when they want you to do it. So I said, open a can and put it in the pot. She brought me the can and said, open it how? With a can opener, I said, incredulous. She brought me the can opener, and we both stared at it. I realized I'd never taught her to use it. Most cans now have pull tops. Mine don't. I don't know. Do most cans? I don't know. I felt like a dope. What kind of apocalypse father doesn't teach his kid how to use a manual can opener? So I said, how do you think this works? She studied it and applied it to the top of the can, sideways. She struggled for a while and with a big dramatic sigh said, will you please just open the can? Apocalypse Dad was overjoyed. A teaching moment just dropped in my lap. I said, the little device is designed to do one thing, open cans. Study the parts, study the can, figure out what the can opener inventor was thinking when they tried to solve this problem. The can opener is also a bottle opener, but I explained that part was irrelevant. I went back to my jigsaw puzzle. She was next to me, grunting and groaning, trying to get the thing. I should say that spatial orientation, process visualization, and order of operation are not things she intuits. Imagine roasting your 9-year-old daughter live. I knew this would be a challenge, but it was a rainy weekend. Eventually, she collapsed in a frustrated heap. I said, explain the parts. She said, this little wheel is meant to cut. These gears turn the wheel when you spin the handle. This other wheel looks like a gear but isn't. She couldn't figure out the clamping step, a key element. I said, the tool is meant to be pleasing, but it doesn't have any superfluous qualities. Everything that moves does so for a reason. I just want to say, by the way, that if anyone said this sentence to me, I would kill them and then myself. She said, I hate you. I'm sure she believes that she does. I said, you understand everything except how the tool addresses the can. She sighed. At this point, she said, I don't want baked beans, and marched off. Apocalypse Dad went into full the road mode. Sweetheart, neither of us will eat another bite today until we get into this can of beans. She screamed, ah, like Lucy Van Pelt. She read a book for a while. Soon, she was back at the can. The top was all dented now, the lip of the can practically serrated from failed attempts. We studied the tool some more. She really wanted it to be oriented up and down or across the top of the can. The sideways orientation is very counterintuitive. She was fixated on orienting the tool in a few configurations and couldn't imagine other possibilities. I compared the can opener to other tools. By now we were working on anger management and perseverance too. She suggested we open the can with a hammer. There were tears. I told her stories of some of the great cans that opened over the years. She rolled her eyes. We talked about industrial design and what a funny little device the opener is. I showed her how I opened cans with a buck knife. I rhapsodized about cold SpaghettiOs straight from the can. Eventually, she had it all figured out. She had the placement of the tool, she could turn the handle, and the can would spin. We were down on the floor by this point. But the ka-chunk of puncturing the lid still eluded us. We'd been at it for 6 hours, on and off. We were hungry, and we both died there around the bean can. I'd been tempted many times along the way to guide her hand. I wanted her to experience the magnificence of the can opener so much I couldn't stand the suspense. Neither of us likes baked beans very much. The cupboards are bare, so it seemed like a paltry reward for this work. I'd forgotten how finicky the tool really is, particularly when it comes to the puncture. She had it all lined up, but the cutting wheel is a little wobbly by design, and you have to really get on top of it for it to clamp down. You know this feeling? You can misfire the damn thing. Finally, she squeezed down on it, and although it was a misfire, the light went off in her head. Many times throughout the day, she'd yelled at me, "My brain is fuzzy. I can't think of anything else to try." And I'd say, when your brain doesn't work, trust your hands. She felt the tool click over the lip of the can. I saw it in her hands. By this point, she developed a little ritual of addressing the tool to the can, starting with it on its vertical axis and rotating it to the horizontal while clamping down in a single motion. a choreography. We're almost done, guys. Okay. She looked at me expectantly, excitedly. After 6 hours of trying, you don't want to express too much hope. Was this another blind alley? The can had been through hell, label ripped off, dented, sharpened bird, a veteran of 1,000 psychic wars. She knew, though. She set up again carefully and brought the swing away to bear on the can of S&W baked beans with the meticulousness of Roger Moore extracting a detonator from an ICBM in The Spy Who Loved Me. A soft pop resounded in the room, so different from all the other sounds we make. Can you imagine if this whole thing ended up being an advertisement? With the meticulousness of a McDonald's fry cook gingerly laying a slice of fresh American cheese on top of a beautiful griddled burger ham. Oh, God. She didn't look up. She knew the action. A little baked bean sauce appeared. She savored every twist until the lid, as I hoped it would, rewarded her by standing perfectly at attention, saluting her effort and ingenuity. She was elated and carried it to the kitchen in both hands. She knew this was a commonplace task and a common tool, but also that this was serious business. She knows her dad and the stock I put in these things. A more mechanically inclined kid might have figured it out in minutes. Jeez, Dad. She factored the scale, but was rightfully proud. I'm proud of her, too. I know I'm infuriating. I know this is parenting theater in some ways. I suffer from a lack of perseverance myself, and like all parents throughout history, I'm trying to correct my own mistakes in the way I educate my child. She sees through this. The swing-away can opener is a little voodoo doll for us now. It will reappear as an allegory many more times in her life, you can be sure. She knows this too. But this is an allegory of triumph. I wish I had more of those for myself. I wish I had more stories like this. The only problem is now she wants to open every fucking can in the house. We made it through. I actually hadn't read the entire thing through. Holy shit. That was... Oh. That was really, really good. Wait, is this real? I thought there was supposed to be a punchline. Nope, it's real, and this guy's getting ratioed to high heaven. Anyway, I'm so sorry. This isn't relevant to politics. This isn't relevant to anything. I'm talking about it anyway. First of all, I just want to say, this guy's lucky his daughter's not like I was when I was a kid, because I know when I wanted beans when I was a kid and my parents weren't home and I didn't know how to use a can opener, I would just stab the top of the can with the largest knife we had. So that, and that's not a safe thing for kids to do. So I just... If that girl was anything like me, then she would have wandered back into the kitchen with that bean can, and the dad would have like returned to see 4 fingers lying on the ground or something like that. She wanted to use a hammer. Yeah, dumb kid. Hammer's not going to get through to a bean can. Well, I guess you have to be like really strong, right? You'd have to be really, really strong to get through a bean can with a hammer. I mean, you basically have to explode the damn thing. Man, okay, so. Obviously, that whole tweet thread is getting ratioed. Everybody's making fun of it. Great. And I thought it was funny because in a way, so I got flashbacks to my dad when watching this, not because of the horrible life lesson or the 6 hours of not being allowed to eat as a child or any of the shitty dad behavior, but the out of nowhere reference to fucking James Bond, the spy who loved me. Oh, God. Fucking dads, man. I guess I'll be like that one day with like anime or something. Yeah, you well done. You done washing my car, just like that scene in Redline. Okay. Jesus Christ. So I feel like I need a disclaimer on this. Obviously, don't ever let your kid wait 6 hours when they're hungry, okay? There's like a pediatric psychology thing about this. You shouldn't be trying to teach your kid shit when they're tired, hungry, angry, or lonely. I think. Yeah, like those are the 4 things. Like if they're any of those things, you shouldn't be trying to teach them shit. Because kid brains are stupid. Frankly, adult brains are stupid. You all seen the people I argue with on this channel, okay? Adult brains, fully developed prefrontal cortexes, are still barely capable of processing reality as it is, okay? Even adult humans are just on the cusp of being able to understand life around them, all right? Don't make a 9-year-old wait 6 hours when they're hungry. If I had been hungry for 6 hours, we would not have been getting to that bean can through conventional methods, all right? And it makes you stupider, yeah, being hungry. But so, disclaimers aside, yeah, and the unfathomable pompousness with which this story was delivered. Just as a general rule, anybody who writes stories this way, I'm trying to think of something that's not TOS. Anybody who writes stories this way shouldn't. Okay? There you go. We found the loophole. Because it's so insanely fun. Shouldn't have kids? Well, there are probably pretentious people who can still be like, okay, parents, but like we have pretentiousness plus something else. A lot of people really, really fetishize the idea of kids being taught like independence and figuring stuff out on your own. Like that's a really, really like a common virtue for people to want their kids to have, you know? But that can only really be taught like contextually, you know? One thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the thing that makes humans great is not individual willpower. It's not. Actually, individually, human beings fucking suck. Strip you of your clothes and tools and throw you out in the forest, you're fucking donezo, boyo. The reason we're not cold is because somebody somewhere else in the world, probably a much poorer person, sewed our clothes together with a machine, you know? The reason I can see is because some machinist constructed a machine that used an axle grinder to grind down lenses that they put in a metal frame that refract light in such a way as to compensate for misalignment within my own irises, I think. Yeah? Yeah. Basically. Something like that. Individually, human beings are not super impressive. Individually, we get rocked by gorillas, okay? Gorillas individually are way the fuck cooler than we are, okay? They're like way stronger. They're monkey-pilled. They would beat our ass. We lose to monkey. Okay? Easily. Easily we do. The reason humans are great is because we cooperate. Everything that's great about humanity is because we're capable of cooperation. And a huge chunk of our brain and all of our reasoning and processing, that comes down to our ability to socialize with our compatriots. That's what we do better than every other species. And our opposable thumbs. We have that going for us. We can use tools well. But in terms of like what differentiates us from other animals, it's the big bit of that is the fact that we can form complex social relationships. That's the big thing. So here's the lesson that girl didn't learn, that she can trust her father to help her out when she's hungry. That's the lesson she didn't learn. And ultimately, that's the more important lesson. You can talk to any child psychiatrist. You can go, the most important thing that you want to instill in kids, apart from the obvious, you know, wipe your ass after you shit, the most important stuff that you want to instill in them is an ability to engage in a healthy way with social expectations. You want them to be able to socialize, to trust the people around them within reason. I mean, you know, not excessively, but you like reasonable trust. You want them to be forthcoming and socially competent. That's the reason why you're supposed to put your kids in daycare. Because when we're growing up, think tribal days. You think kids in tribal days, they're just locked in like a little teepee until they're like 8 years old and then they get sent off to play with the other kids? No. Back in fucking tribal days, they're bumping little 4-day-old babies together. They're fucking bump, bump, bump. They're bumping them, you know? Because everyone was constantly interacting with everybody else. You want daycare because then your 3-year-old gets more used to interacting with other people their age, which is good. You want that. This shit is so funny to me because in attempting to teach like rigorous independence, what you're actually teaching is an inability to solve problems using other people as tools. That's how you're going to solve most problems in your life, by the way. Most problems in your life are not going to be solved by via a hyper-specific execution of a mechanical task. Unless you're an engineer, but if you are, you go to school for that. You get special training. Most problems in your life will be solved by learning how to navigate social relationships. Ideally, something that you can do healthfully. When I say tools, by the way, I don't mean like manipulate, but like other people around you are factors in problems that you can solve in your life. But yeah, mainly just feed your fucking kid. Just feed your kid, okay? Just feed your kid. It's not hard. It's really funny. Most people are dunking on this guy and they're saying this is abusive. And I don't think, by the way, that the dad here is like inherently a terrible human being. There's a lot of types of abuse out there. this seems to me like the kind of thing that if you hit your head sufficiently hard, you could convince yourself was a good idea, and a year later could think, oh God, what was I thinking? It's still really bad, but it's maybe, hopefully, the Twitter ratio will convince him. Not that a Twitter ratio has ever made anybody better at anything. Lol, it's just an elaborate, he was right. No, he wasn't right, okay? Trust me. If you're watching this and you think, oh, what a base dad, teaching independence, that's not how any of this works, okay? That's not how that works. I think especially within a socialist community, we'd be averse to that kind of propaganda. Like, if you want your kid to learn, like, problem solving and mechanical, or I guess, like, spatial recognition, why not just buy him a puzzle? By making eating the, like, reward, you're kind of hinging their material well-being on their ability to exercise a task that they may not really have that much of an interest in, or that they don't care about. That's, yeah, it's not good. There are ways to do this without being weird about it, you know? Wasn't he doing a puzzle at the time? Yeah, well, you know. Yeah, teach your kids independence by abandoning them in the woods a couple days. Yeah, everyone, it's a lot. Wait, do we have any people in chat who, like, they watched, I don't know, Full Metal Alchemist, or what are other shows where kids are put in, like, abusive training situations? I don't know. And they're like, oh yeah, dude, I wish that I had grown up being abandoned in the woods at 9 years old. I would have developed the skills necessary to excel beyond my peers, or something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like there are a lot of people who are like that. Like, they grow up in, like, a comfortable house and they secretly wish, like, they grew up in some weird fucking anime shit where they were taught like, how to hunt or, like, catch fish or something like that. It's fucking miserable, dude. Yeah, a good show to watch, by the way, if you ever want that, like, thought process debunked, is Naked and Afraid. That show fucking sucks to watch, dude. I can barely watch that show. It's what I said. You throw naked people out there in the wilderness, and they're all miserable, and half the time they have to leave or they're gonna die. You know, miserable show to watch. But weirdly optimistic though. Sometimes they make it through. You know, sometimes they make it through. Oh yeah, or they die, or they get, like, a bot fly infection, or just yeah. Why do people idolize people who struggle? Wait, so there's a difference thing. I think that struggling, like putting effort into life, I think that's a good thing. I think it's virtuous to struggle, because it's through struggle that you're able to overcome. And often there are good things to overcome. I think it's important. Usually people who feel there's no necessity in struggling don't feel there's anything necessary to overcome. I think it's good to struggle. I like the manga Berserk, okay? The problem is you have to do it for the right thing. Fascists fetishize struggle, but the struggle they fetishize is one of the state, one of race, you know, and that's... Ugh. But, like, what about the struggle for human equality? Or the struggle for, you know, like, a material... the acquisition of, you know, the means of production or something like that. There are ways to sort of process that desire that aren't super unhealthy, you know?
A few minutes.
This is real? Is this Bean Dad? What the fuck? At Dave Anthony, I'm going to rape you the next time I see you. Bad rape, not funny rape. The last bit actually makes it so much worse. Holy shit. Maybe the white half of you that went to law school can get the black half out of jail on some boohoo technicality. At Important Megan, whoever the fuck that is. The fourth has been perverted by activist, quote, Jew judges, and mud people apologists. The founders intended USA as a white homeland. What the fuck? This is from 2013, apparently, but Jesus. My armored car just arrived in surprise, full of Jew lawyers. We're talking guns, taxing, and suing the survivors. Shooter knocked. Oh, damn. Wait, this guy's a fucking Nazi. What the fuck? Why is everyone online a Nazi?